to your roots as you go forward in life and you discover yourself and grow as a human being.
Yeah, that's kind of powerful. So in terms of our why from a BSG.
Remofilwe, sorry.
Yes.
I can just interrupt. Tiara, I'm not giving marks for this. So you can keep on. That was a brilliant reply.
It comes from the heart.
No, I'm joking, really. It was a very nice comment that you made there. Just on the topic of how, why, and what. I know honor students are currently involved in a lot of research projects, and because life is so mechanical, everyone's focused on what they want to do and how they want to do it. And no one just has the time of thinking about why they're doing it. And so currently, as one of the students said, it's pretty much part of the mechanics of life that we are indulging in right now. And when we have a chance to maybe be philosophical, like a meeting like this, then we could indulge ourselves and start talking about why. Anyway, continue if you. Sorry about that.
Very true. So from a BSG perspective, in terms of our why, we believe in being a proactive force for positive change. That's basically what our why is. We are a homegrown, proudly South African company, started in SA, owned in SA, and I think for the past 23 years, our drive has been associated to that. How we then go about doing that is by thinking differently, and this is through our people and the commitment that each one of us then have in creating kind of a culture of excellence in how we innovate, and also in how we learn and grow. Because when we learn and grow, we evolve ourselves as individuals as well, and subsequently then the clients that we serve, and BSG as an organization overall. How we do that? So we're very client-centric in our approach. We collaborate with our clients, and this is both from a business and IT perspective, because the two complement each other. We help our clients in making sure that they can give their customers the solution that they need, using kind of our unique insight-led problem solving. In the positive change that I mentioned earlier, we do this by helping our clients realize their potential, and in doing so, then they're able to basically perform better. We've got like multiple capabilities that exist within the organization. For example, like your business strategy, analysis, and design. And you'll find that with analysis and design, that's typically where our graduate development program would start in terms of laying a foundation for our new joiners. Then there's software development, your tech strategy, data science, which has kind of become a key aspect in terms of how organizations function and evolve, and also delivery management. In order to deliver our projects successfully, we kind of take a multi-skilled delivery approach. So you'll find that every project is unique in terms of the skill sets that's associated with that. Before we decide on individuals that will be going on to projects, we first understand what the needs of our clients are, and only once we've understood what those needs are, then we can structure our teams accordingly to be able to enable that in the most effective and the most efficient way. Any questions so far, guys?
Rema, we had some questions earlier about what type of problems BSG solves for their clients.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to address those now or a little bit later?
No, I think we can address that one that one here. So it varies. It varies. I'll give you for instance the project that I'm on at the moment. We're helping a financial services institution to optimize their identity and access management across multiple systems. So this one is a technical project where we're looking at system optimization. Some of our projects are related to compliance work. So when there are any regulatory changes that come into effect, how you go about ensuring that then as an organization you are compliant to government and legislation. Also then is where we've had numerous projects also then in the space that have started to grow is how do you use the data that you've got within your organization to be able to improve and drive the positive results that you want to see. How do you improve as an organization to firstly use that to kind of predetermine what it is that the customer is going to need, and use that to determine what it is that the customer needs to inform the solution from that. So it varies across your strategy, your analysis thinking, and your design. We do systems development as well.
So, I think there was one more question, but I think or two more that I think you covered already about what type of technical developments consultants do, and we covered that a little bit. And then how we're enabling AI machine learning in our solutions. I can personally think of one solution where we're working with a financial institution on creating a bot, an answer bot for them. It would totally depend on the project and with the need of the client at that point. I don't know if you have any other comments on that.
Spot on, Shannon. Yeah.
Sorry. I just wanted to know, in terms of this COVID-19, how did BSG change its strategy with regards to consulting to their clients? Because obviously, you couldn't just go to a client anymore. What was it done over teleworking, telecommunications, and how efficient was it, or is it?
So we found that as soon as before even lockdown, as soon as the social distancing was being recommended, most of our clients had already taken that direction. I think we are in a position that by being in IT, it's been having online meetings and stuff like that has been things that have been happening even prior to lockdown. It's more how we then incorporate that into your day-to-day life, because you find that before you would probably spend 10% of your time in online meetings, and now you spend 100% of your time in online meetings. So BSG actually had a fully fledged project that's still running at the moment in terms of changing our ways of working to enable and support the BSGers in order for them then to support their clients better. Sort of a bit shaky, obviously with making sure that all the technical aspects are sorted. I think also then with the connectivity, making sure that you've got the right level of connection for you to be able to work effectively. So the one downside I would say that has come with this is the face-to-face interaction, the face-to-face team collaboration that typically assists in keeping teams motivated. And teams have had to kind of find different ways to play 30 seconds virtually. So I think it's the principles have been laid out. It's more how each team then makes it applicable and suitable to their environment.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Hi, I just want to know, in terms of BSG's clients, what is a specific type of are there specific clients that you guys work with? Does it depend on the size of them, or is it just any clients that need the solutions that you guys offer?
So we've been operating largely within the financial services space, the medical and pharmaceutical space as well. So we associate with clients that associate with BSG. It's not driven by the company size at all, or what it is that they do. If we are first of all aligned in terms of our why, the how and the what will ultimately become what the projects are. We have in the past had projects where we've as a company where we've taken decisions to not continue with them because they were not suited to what BSG stands for, or we couldn't add the value that we felt that we could add. So we always make sure that in the projects that we take, it's something that's going to be of value to the client. Otherwise, then there's no point in us doing it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, cool. So in terms of how do you then as an individual kind of equip yourself in creating this positive change? You talk about a T-shaped consultant, which looks at the breadth of the expertise that one develops. I normally term it the jack of many trades. We then look at the depth of the knowledge, which I sometimes term master of at least one. And you'll find that when you start working, you'll probably only have the depth of knowledge that exists, because this will have been through the academic knowledge that you've gained, but not necessarily the breadth of expertise, because you haven't been exposed to experience in terms of building on that. And I think why we hone on this T shape, because the benefits that this kind of enables is that once you've got your T shape, it allows better collaboration. Earlier in the previous slide, I highlighted kind of that multi-skilled delivery. When you've got that breadth of expertise, that means you can engage with different types of individuals or different types of topics, because you've built on that breadth. It also keeps your career interesting, because then you're exposed to more diversified topics as a result of that, and then you ultimately become more attractive to employers. Employers from there. So how do you then build on that multi-skill T-shape? It's a combination of the soft and hard skills. Being able to communicate within your team. So you'll find that the projects that we operate in, probably 99% of the time, are team-based. You'll never find yourself where you are doing work and you're not within a team. So being able to communicate and having those interpersonal skills, being able to problem solve through that critical thinking. Our clients come to us because they can't solve the problem themselves, so they put the trust in us to be able to assist them in finding solutions for them. So problem solving and those strategic planning skills. Business analytics skills, also having a general understanding of how financials and management controls work. And as I mentioned earlier, leading those within your team, even though you're not necessarily a leader, also leading and inspiring within your own team. Any questions with this, guys?
There's nothing on the chat.
Okay. You can just post on the chat. If it does come up, we'll address it later as well. And I think another thing I wanted to highlight, kind of with the T shape, and probably the most effective way of how you can get to the T shape, in addition to looking at the hard and soft skills. Pay attention to what interests you. Some of us, when we started university, we chose subjects based on what we thought we wanted to do. I started with human kinetics and ergonomics when I got to my first year, and the first time I heard of IS was in my first year of university, and I was quite intrigued by it. So that's how I actually ended up in the IS space. It wasn't something that I had originally planned to study when I started university. So also don't let your majors limit you. If there is something that interests you outside of your core focus of universities, explore that, make it your hobby, learn more about it, and that's how you'll find that you'll build on that depth of knowledge and breadth of expertise as well. And also play around, experiment on this as well. Any thoughts anyone wants to share?
I was just wanting to offer, I started studying accounting, and I didn't enjoy it whatsoever. And it was far too late along my studies for me to change my mind. But then I realized after some time that it just was never going to make me happy, and no matter how I was going to approach it and how hard I studied, I wasn't going to be happy doing that. So I pivoted and started studying IT, and ever since then I really think I've found my passion. And I'm happy pursuing this avenue.
Yeah. That's great. Okay, cool. I'll move on to the next slide. So in terms of building like a relevant career, the question we always ask is, if you look at management consultants and business analysts, is will a robot take our job? And the likelihood of that is quite unlikely. So it's about then, how do you make yourself relevant to make sure that you're still able to add the most value that you can add. And what we do at BSG is, in addition to the normal learning and development program that we offer, we also encourage our BSGers to also do their own self-learning. It's how do you find free online courses, for example, that can enhance your knowledge, that can broaden your skills base as well. So we do use this as another avenue we provide, and it's basically up to you whether you want to take it up or not. So your knowledge base will grow and develop as fast or as slow as you want it to, based on the effort that you put in from a learning and development perspective as well, over and above what you'd be offered within an organization. Okay, any questions? Okay, cool. So if you look at this 2.4% and 0.6%, can you guys take a guess at what it represents? Wildest guess.
You guys can also add it in the chat if you want to.
It can be anything, even if it's not schoolwork related. No guessing. Okay, cool. So I'll just take you through it. So what the 2.4% represents is what you guys are finding yourself in as honors students. Statistics have it that everyone that starts grade 1, only 2.4% of those individuals are going to end up in an honors class. They're going to start their honors class. And out of that 2.4% that are in honors, only 0.6% actually do STEM. So that's looking at your engineering, your IT space. So you guys are the unique 0.66%. I think someone mentioned earlier about being afforded the opportunity to be where others can't be, and using that effectively, because you should be grateful for that. This basically talks to that. You guys are the unique minority of our society, and it puts you in a really good space to be a force for the positive change that we want to drive as a society. I don't know if you guys have heard about the Leap Maths and Science school. It's a specialized maths and science school that BSG associates with. This is in an effort to just continue making a positive difference in our society. And Leap has consistently, over the years, been able to achieve a higher pass rate than what the national pass rate is, with 78% of the individuals being able to get a bachelor's. And I think more importantly, not just BSG being able to contribute financially to the Leap Science and Maths School, but also being able to have Leap Science and Maths School alumni ending up being BSGers. I think that's one thing we've taken great pride in, that we've had individuals that we've supported through the Leap Science and Maths.
Are they specific?
And subsequently coming to join us and making the same positive difference that we made in their lives. So yeah, guys. I mean, I think being that small 0.6 this year is probably the toughest that it's ever been with the effects of COVID. I think it needs a lot of resilience from you guys to be able to stay focused and still give the same commitment to your academics with the challenges that you're facing. So yeah, keep up the commitment, the resilience, and one day you'll be trailblazers that will share how you have overcome. I think I'm going to hand over to Shannon just to talk us through some gratitude and happiness principles and tips of studying from home. Shannon, over to you.
Awesome, thanks, Rem. Can you move on to the first slide for me? Thank you. I think we're running a little bit low on time, so I won't spend too much on this in particular. But there's a great TEDx talk by Louis Schwartzberg about nature, beauty, and gratitude, and talks about how nature's beauty is a gift that cultivates the appreciation for gratitude. Talks about how you approach every single day and how you ultimately connect with nature and how that can make you grateful. If you haven't had to watch a bit before, it's a really lovely video to watch, but it's just something to think about. What are you grateful for? How do you approach each day? And how do you make the most of your day in a reflective, present, and mindful way? Move on to the next slide, Graham. So at BSG in particular, we really try to drive what we call our 5 happiness habits. It's something that we feel supports holistic happiness and ultimately supports our holistic wellness as consultants. And we try and encourage and cultivate this throughout our teams. It forms part of our GDP as well. And it's a really nice reflective couple tools to use. So if we look at each of the tools, we look at something like 3 gratitudes per day. So taking time to reflect on 3 things that you were grateful for today. And I think it helps our brains focus more on a positive frame and less on a negative frame. And if you do it on a daily basis, whether it be writing it down, having a discussion, or thinking about it, it's a great tool to use. Another tool is meditation, so taking time for our brain to clear itself, to ground and center and to breathe, just to take a little bit of a break. I think this is very valuable in the situation we're in right now, where things can feel slightly overwhelming. Taking those 5-10 minutes in whatever frame that you want to for meditation is helpful. Another item that we like to drive is random acts of kindness. So this is supporting your communities. And when I say communities, I mean your peers, your family, your colleagues, whoever they are. Doing small things like a positive email, buying someone a cup of coffee, volunteering, creates, I think, positive leaders and leading yourself, as well as strong social connections with the people around you. Another tool we use is journaling, so giving you time to reflect and sort of allowing your brain to relive an experience. I think it teaches your brain that behavior matters and what you do matters. It's also a good de-stressor. And I suppose lastly, and you guys have heard this a lot, but exercise is obviously important, whether it be small or big, whether you're doing a marathon or a 15-minute yoga session, whatever works for you, helps you focus, de-stress, and ultimately is good for what's good for your body is good for your mind. So this is just some nice tips and tools that we use at BSG. Maybe if we go on to the next slide, Rem, how we sort of relate this back for you guys in terms of key tips for studying from home. Some of the things that have worked for us in working from home. I think we've been doing this for now almost 3 months for some of us. So some of the things you could look at is setting clear expectations. So ensuring you know exactly what's expected of you for the day or what you plan on doing. Making sure you monitor your well-being. So maybe to a point some of those happiness habits. Are you eating properly? Are you getting enough sleep? Healthy body, healthy mind, and doing a little bit of physical activity, even if it's just 15, 30 minutes every day, instead of sitting in the chair and only studying. Another sort of key tip is creating a plan. So probably looking at your lecture schedule as you would usually have it in person, and breaking that down for you at home, so you're not in front of your desk the whole time, you have sufficient breaks. Something we try to like using is the 45, 15-minute or 40, 20-minute methodology. So you work really hard and focus for those 45 minutes, and then break off for 15 minutes, go make yourself a cup of tea, go for a walk, give yourself a little bit of a break, and then get back into working for 45 minutes. Having a routine, so trying to create a routine that's based on your productivity. I suppose not everyone works perfectly on the 9 to 5 ratio. Whatever works for you and is effective for you, keep into a good routine around that. If you have things like household chores, maybe you get it done in the morning instead of it letting it bother you the whole day. And since we've got a little bit of extra time now, not sitting in any traffic, waiting around at campus, use it to do something you like. Maybe that's baking, maybe that's meditation, maybe that's reading. Use that time effectively to help you de-stress. And I suppose lastly, keeping connected. Definitely to your lecturers and peers, but also to your friends and family. I think Remo mentioned it earlier, some of our struggles is making sure that the team stays motivated and that we have a higher morale. So what are you doing to keep your own motivation morale up, and maybe seeing someone face to face over video chat instead of just giving them a call is a great way to do that. Does anyone have any tips that they've been using that they'd like to share with the group? Tiara made a comment about 30 minutes a day is a great way to keep fit, definitely. Giving you a zest for the day. Some people like to work out early in the morning, wake up in this freezing cold weather that we're having in Joburg.
Sorry, I think for me, in like the first part of the lockdown, all I do is stay inside the house, and I found that you kind of get like, in a sense, almost like depressed because you're only inside. So now I like to take like 30 minutes and go outside and just like stand in the sun, even if I take work or book or on a phone call, because getting that vitamin D and just getting that, even if it's no sun is out, getting that fresh air actually really helps like clear your mind. You don't realize on campus you're walking from one place to another, you're actually getting fresh air in that sense, so getting that sun and, you know, just clearing your head a little. So I feel like but all of these tips are actually really helpful, and you guys actually put a lot into perspective, because I think studying from home is actually a lot harder than people think, or even working from home. It's very easy to get lazy and like lose your routine completely.
100%, I agree, baby. I do the same thing. I take my laptop outside and just spend some time in the sun, getting something different for a little, getting a different view. It's definitely more difficult than I think we all thought it would be. But great comments there. Anyone else?
I think probably the best thing is making sure you're sleeping enough, or like setting a proper bedtime and waking up. You know, there's often a lot of like, you know, you can start your day later, but it's far better to make sure you're waking up early and getting a start on your day as if it was normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just about to say as well, Keegan, like in the beginning of the lockdown, I was waking up so late, like very, very unproductive. And then I honestly went through stages and different phases during this lockdown. And now I think I've balanced out everything properly, and I feel like it made such a difference. Like for me now, what I do is I have a set time that I'll wake up, or sometimes I'll give myself if I don't have a lot of work, I'll wake up a little bit later. But I find that writing down and planning, like physically writing down what I want to do and my plan for the day helps so much, because writing out and physically, putting something down on pen and paper, it kind of forces you, or like makes you your mental state to say, okay, now I want to get this done today, and you feel actually really good just striking it off at the end of the day and knowing that you were productive and you got stuff done. So I found that to really help me a lot with doing work. So
100%. Awesome, great comments, guys. Any other comments before we move on to more?
And also, ma'am, I found that setting small goals for yourself every day, like maybe writing a part of a dissertation, doing some research on a dissertation, doing something tangible, it really keeps your mind proactive that you're achieving something every day, because the little steps, they all add up to something big. And that's really, it helps to keep the momentum going. And I found that really helpful, so I just want to share that. Thanks for that.
I completely agree. We haven't added that in, but I really like that one. Crossing something off the to-do list is a great feeling.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thanks so much for the comments, guys. I think I'm going to move over to Mahul now.
Thanks, Shannon. Yeah, so during the grads induction, which is actually like our first few weeks that we spend in the office, we get a chance to meet some of the more experienced BSGers, and we learn how the company works. And the first thing that we're introduced to is this concept of why. So why are we taking on certain projects? What is the purpose, and how does it benefit society as a whole? So my why when joining BSG was that I love being challenged, and I love being put in a challenging environment, whilst also getting to meet different people and interacting with them. Just like you guys, I went to UKZN, and I was in the same position that you find yourself now, thinking about the future. What career am I going to take? What path do I want to go down? And so I did chemical engineering and interviewed at our selectathon, which is a day-long process in which we do a presentation, case study, and we go through some situational questions as well. And we just get to understand how BSG actually operates. And I must say that, personally, I found the whole process to be really, really rigorous, which is great because, it prepares you for what you actually have to expect when you're on a project. I learned in the interview and in my first few weeks on the ground and on the project that it's not necessarily what you learn in campus that is so important, but more how you actually can pick up new concepts, your ability to think, and just how open are you to new ideas and possibilities. So always like keep that at the back of your mind. It's not always what you learn, but how you can apply yourself in different situations. I think that really took me a long way. So if you're looking for an environment that's going to test you and push you out of your comfort zone, then I think that BSG is the perfect place for that. I know, I love it. A few weeks later, after the Selectathon, I got a call and I was offered a position in the graduate program as a business consultant. And here I find myself today, being able to share some of my experiences with you guys. And I think that's absolutely awesome. Just some background, because I know most of you on the call are probably wanting to know what I do on a day-to-day basis. So I'm on a project at one of South Africa's leading banks in the vehicle and asset finance space. It's actually the largest tech implementation project in the country at the moment, and the largest project of its size that the bank has ever undergone. Yeah. So we're reworking, rethinking, and optimizing the entire vehicle asset finance process in the bank end to end, whilst performing a cloud migration. The one thing that I quickly learned when I joined BSG is that if you want an opportunity and you show that you deserve a shot, they'll support you in any route you want to take. So a few months into the project, when I started to like settle in a little bit more, I expressed an interest in actually owning a piece of work by myself. And my team leader was so supportive. He identified a piece of work that I can actually tackle, and he supports me in all my meetings and helps me to analyze my work, whilst also being a really good knowledge source in showing me how to own a piece of work and the ropes of being a really good business consultant. So it's that from the ground up teaching, which I think is really, really great. And it's also the kind of exposure that I wanted when I left varsity, and something I knew I would get in consulting. I just really didn't expect for it to come so early on in my career, which is what I've really come to value in BSG. Everything was going really smoothly until about March. I think it was March when we got the message that we have to work from home indefinitely. And within a day, I know we all set up mini offices at home and business carried on as usual. We didn't really have a choice but to adapt, and to adapt really quickly. BSG recognized this and made a really good progress with keeping in better contact with us. We moved all of our team meetings online. We actually host virtual game nights, and we do yoga virtually. It's really, really great. There was actually a yoga course that I was a part of last week over 4 days, just to help relax. And in the evening for 2 hours, we'd meet and you'd meditate, breathe, do some yoga, stretch. So it's these little things that help you keep in contact with people that you would normally see on a day-to-day basis. And I think it's something that we can even try and do at home, like with you guys actually studying from home, set up a call and chat to some people. It goes a long way. So continuous growth and development is a key part of our graduate development program. And all grads are urged to take up an external certification that will help them with the project that they're on. So something relevant to you and what you're interested in. I personally chose to do the Amazon Cloud Practitioner certification. I'm not sure who of you are familiar with that. But since my project deals with the migration to the cloud and it's on Amazon, I thought that it'll be quite helpful to take that up. And one of our cloud gurus at work held a 1-week crash course where we would meet virtually every night and go through the course content. And this is just one of the many ways that working from home has altered how we approach the year and how we approach different tasks. And it's actually given us time to explore these different avenues that we probably wouldn't have thought of exploring. So I think that's really great. This whole new working from home situation from a career sense, I know it's something that I'm looking at from a positive perspective, despite its challenges. One of the toughest things for me to do, I know, was to just switch off at night and not be tempted to read some emails or, try and get some work out of the way from the next day. But I'm sure many of you also feel the same way. But I've started making a really conscious effort to manage my time better and set aside an hour or so every day to get in some exercise, relax. I know someone mentioned just going outside and standing. It makes a world of difference. And I think this is one of the most important things and perhaps a lot more difficult to do in uni. So those study from home tips that Shannon went through, I know that they're personally a lifesaver, and it's something that I've been trying to practice as best as I can during this period, just to get through it. That being said, I'm really excited for the next few months, and I'm especially looking forward to hopefully seeing some of you guys in the office. I think it'll be really great to see more UKZN grads representing at BSG. And I can't wait to have you guys join us. So yeah, thanks so much. Do you guys have any questions or any thoughts? Please feel free to put it in the chat. Yeah.
Hi. Okay, so you'd probably be best suited to answer this as you've been where we are, like exactly from UKZN. So how do you know, right? So you went into the grad program and things like that. How do you know in that year? Because a year's not a lot of time to decide what you want to do with the rest of your life, basically, right?
No,
how did you decide which category you fitted into best and went from there?
So all the grads are, I'm sure Emma, you can also back me up, we're in the multi-skill delivery team. So we got put in a project and it's quite tailored to where your strengths lie. So you're not thrown into the deep end. You have a lot of guidance. Like, you have team leads, we have mentors, you have career facilitators, and they're all put in place to make sure that you're put onto projects and you're doing work that you really want to do. So you're not just thrown in the deep end and you have to like go fend for yourself. It's a really rigorous process that BSG takes in the background to make sure that you feel comfortable with what you're doing. I'm not sure if that answers your question.
So just to add on to that, Mahil, so it's like he mentioned, all the new graduates that join us start within the multi-skill delivery space, and then from there onwards, once you've kind of built on that depth of knowledge, then you can start focusing on expanding kind of on the breadth of expertise, so you can explore other areas where you might have interest in. But it doesn't necessarily mean that when you do come in and you start in A&D, it would stop you, for instance, from engaging with the strategy capability. So if you do come in and there is something that interests you, there is also opportunity for you to go explore that, have conversations with those individuals to learn more about it. It talks to the interest I spoke about earlier, that when I was talking about the T-shape, that take interest and explore. That will assist you in determining what it is that you actually enjoy.
Okay, well, thank you. Also, another thing is, do you enable like the graduates to move around? And so I get that in that year, you guys try your best to help us find how things. So say, for instance, in that year, I enjoyed software development, right? And obviously when I'm working further in the company with the contract and things, if I wanted to move from software engineering onto like just say analysis and design or project management, would that be enabled?
Yeah, that is enabled. So I mean, also dependent on kind of the kind of projects that we do get. But yeah, we've got individuals that have moved from analysis and switched over to tech and vice versa.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much.
I've just got a question. It's kind of related to my research. So bigger companies such as yourselves, as you'd said, were already in your long-term plans planning on allowing more people to work remotely. But now everyone was kind of forced upon it, and not everyone was as fortunate as you are to be in the position where you had a strategy and a plan and a technology acceptance or acceptable technology that you planned on using. So now that you have been forced and more people have been shown that it is possible, is it likely that you are going to make like teleworking more part of your business strategy going forward, just in general?
And I mean, I think even I was reading the news earlier in the week on an article that says organizations are starting to explore this as an option. For instance, our client within the division that we're operating in, they've already taken a decision that once lockdown has ended, it's going to be 50-50 working from home. They actually term it dynamic way of working, where you're only going to have to be in the office twice a week, and as such, they've even started reducing desk space. So the office will only be able to accommodate only 50% of us. So I definitely do think that's the direction that most companies are going to take, because I think they're also then realizing that it's going to allow them to be able to shift their financial focus to more important things.
Yeah, exactly, rather than real estate. And then on that, are you guys involved in helping anybody, like companies plan and provision, any strategies to make this transition a bit smoother?
Yes, they with one of the financial services institution, there is a project that's currently running that's actually looking at the entire organization. How do they go about adopting this method?
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, I'm just conscious of time. I think maybe we can just wrap up. I don't know if there are any other questions that have come up in the chat.
And nothing else in the chat room.
Okay, so I think like Mavil mentioned, through our graduate recruitment program, we run what we call a selectathon, in going through a rigorous process to kind of get to know our potential graduates better, and also you guys getting to know BSG better. And from there, then we run our graduate development program, which has got formal training that's run throughout the year, as well as then placing the new joiners onto projects. So we don't take long to place the new joiners onto projects, because we believe that the application is more important than the theoretical aspect. So we place you on projects relatively quickly, and we then provide you with the right level of support with your team leads, as well as your career facilitators and mentors that you will work with, as well as a forum for the new joiners and the less experienced guys to engage and interact, to share their concerns or any ideas on how they can learn better. So if BSG is what you're looking for, do go onto our website and sign up for our recruitment for our development program, and we're looking for applications before the 2nd of July. Any questions from anyone?
Hi. Sorry, on that point about the 2nd of July, I'm looking at your thing, but you would assume that you would need our latest academic record. Our academic record, we can't get it from varsity at this moment in time, and they're supposed to send it to us after graduation, but due to the whole lockdown scenario and stuff, and I've actually tried to get mine for the past 2 months, and you cannot get hold of anyone. And my last academic record that I have personally is June last year, when I was still in undergrad. So now with that, with the under a deadline here, so for your company, is there any way I can say I can apply, and then once I get it, I can then send my academic record? Because I've literally spent the whole day on the phone trying to get all the numbers, but they're not in at the moment, and you can't get it online, just download it. You have to actually go to varsity or get it from a specific person.
Yeah. Shannon, Shanaria, do you want to pick that one up?
That's perfectly fine. We completely understand, the current situation. So we are open to accepting any kind of interim results that you have at the moment, and then we'll just keep an eye out for any outstanding documents, and just remember to get those from you when you manage to get it from the university itself.
Okay, thank you so much, because it's actually really stressful, because you want to apply and then you can't get the documentation that you need a lot of the time.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
But we'll definitely be open to it.
Yes.
I'm just wondering if maybe if BSG would accept maybe screenshots of your Student Central, your record via Student Central.
Yeah, I wouldn't actually mind uploading that, but I can then take screenshots and just send that into.
Obviously, when you get the official document, you can send it through.
Yes, no, definitely. I understand that. It's just hard to get the document. All right. Thank you.
Sorry, Remo. In terms of the graduate program, when we do apply for it, when does it begin? Because right now, with the uncertainty of when the academic year is actually going to end, when does the graduate program actually begin? And if the academic year is pulled into January, how does that affect our position or us being elected as a candidate for the graduate program?
So the program generally starts in Feb. It starts in Feb. Yeah, to be honest, I think in terms of the start, we need to determine how kind of the rest of the year progresses from a COVID perspective, to inform what it would be for 2021, but it would not be before Feb.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, just on that as well, it is a permanent role as well, so it's not just like a contract. I know like we do sometimes try to start like the last week of Jan, but typically we would obviously assess it in light of the current situation, understanding that everybody's timelines has pretty much moved out, so we will definitely be taking that into consideration as well.
Thank you.
Okay, cool. I think if there's nothing else from anyone, that's it. That's it from my side.
Hello, ma'am. I just wanted to ask you all about the external certification, because I know that after university, that will be something that we will be aiming for. Is there any other additional certification that we can acquire to help us in our consulting job, such as Huawei? They offer also cloud-based training, and Amazon. Is there anything that we can do by ourselves to improve the quality of our skills? Any external certification that you all would recommend for us to get?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean there are a couple of those. I think at the top of my head, AWS. There's Power BI. There's SQL. So yeah, we do encourage those as well. Yeah, SQL, Power BI. There's Azure as well, from a data analytics perspective.
Thank you, ma'am.
I think what we will do, when we send the videos as well, we will also then include a bit more examples on that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. That's it. That's it from our side.
Thanks very much.
Thanks so much, everyone.
Thanks, guys, and all the best with the rest of your academic year.
Oh, thank you very much. Enjoy your day.
Thank you so much. And you too.
Bye.
Well, not academic, by work life.
And keep safe. Keep safe too. Yeah.
Guys, before you leave, I see people are leaving. Just before you leave, Remofilwe, I must thank you for doing the presentation and hosting this entire event. And please thank your team, Shannon, Mehu, Shanari, and Zoe. It's been great interacting with you guys and giving our students an opportunity to have a kind of a window view of your world. I'm sure, judging by the questions that were asked, you realize that there's a lot of anxiety in terms of what you guys do, but we were actually able to see the human touch that you brought across to us, and we feel so much more comforted by that. But I think it's engagements like this that will actually instill a lot of confidence in our students, because unfortunately currently the gap between the professional working worlds and the academic sector is just getting wider and wider. So interventions like this will just help to ease tensions between these two sectors. I'm sure our students would have valued this interaction a hell of a lot. Thanks to students as well, some great questions. And I know if you had time, you could continue going on with this discussion, but I know you guys are constrained with time. So we really appreciate this opportunity, and thanks a lot.
No, thank you very much, Dr. Sanjay. It's our pleasure. And I think even beyond this lecture, if there is any way that you think we can support and share from our side, we're very open to that as well. We'll stay in touch.
Yeah, we will do that. At the very least, the slides that you've got, if you can just send them to me, because I see you've got the link to the graduate program. Yeah, I'll just make it available to the students and send them a reminder.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Nice meeting you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Right.
Have a good
Thanks, guys.
afternoon.
Cheers.
All right, cheers,
Thanks,
guys.
everyone.
Okay.